So the man targeted, Greg Price, joins us now. He's a senior digital strategist at X Strategies. Now, Greg, here's what NBC said about your videos. The videos include slight edits, such as cutting out the sound of the audience to make it appear as if he had abruptly stopped speaking. Other edits cut Fetterman off mid-sentence to create the perception that what he was saying was nonsensical. Sounds like what they've done to me, like, all the time when they edit my stuff. Thoughts?
No, so anyone who follows me on Twitter knows that I'm really big into making supercuts, which are just these small little clips that are part of a larger video to make a broader point. And the point in this case is that John Fetterman had a stroke not too long ago, which is sad. We pray that his health recovers, but he has serious issues speaking about it, or serious issues speaking. And when you're running for the United States Senate, that's a legitimate criticism, as even the Washington Post editorial board said. And so I've made about like 3 or 4 really viral supercuts of John Fetterman, of clips of him at his rallies where he's barely able to get through them. And obviously his handlers don't let him speak for very long periods at a time. And so after my latest one, I get this DM from this NBC News reporter, and he basically is asking me about the edits that I made and why I did them about the supercut. He DM'd me another video that I'd also reposted from a different account that cut out the audience clapping in it, and basically to claim that that was doctored and made his speech issues look worse than they were. And so in my head, I was thinking to myself, okay, he's probably writing some stupid article about how Republicans are being mean to John Fetterman. And then he publishes it, and he accuses me of doctoring the video, not selectively editing, not taking out of context, but doctoring them, as if I had like somehow deep faked these videos to make it look like John Fetterman had worse speech issues than he actually does. And like, the way I thought journalism was supposed to work is journalism is supposed to challenge powerful people and challenge powerful institutions in America. But in this case, this NBC News reporter is accusing me of doctoring videos and then going to big tech companies asking them to censor me. They're, the unholy alliance between media and big tech. And instead of like asking why, John Fetterman's handlers are not letting him speak for like only short times, they're accusing me of doctoring the videos and trying to censor me.
Well, Greg, in the last hour on MSNBC, Fetterman was actually asked about this.
There are viral videos, mashups of your, I think, cognitive or vocal errors, things that they think suggest cognitive decline. What do you say to Pennsylvania voters who see some of this stuff on the internet, who hear the ads from Dr. Oz's camp and are worried about your fitness for office?
I'm absolutely fit to serve. I just took a test I think it was yesterday that confirmed that I'm absolutely fully functioning in the range as well too. The one side that wants to try to lie about that.
Response.
My response to that is just prove it. Debate Dr. Oz at a time.
Without conditions, and we're going to get to that in a moment.
Debate Dr. Oz at a time sooner than 2 weeks before the election.
All right, Greg, we reached out to Fetterman and his campaign. They didn't respond to us on this particular issue, but they did tell NBC it's pretty sad and frankly desperate that Dr. Oz's MAGA allies are deceptively editing videos of John speaking in order to mock him while he recovers from a stroke. Quickly, your response.
Well, I think it's pretty sad that they're trying to pull the wool over the eyes of Pennsylvania voters and are trying to act like this man is a lot healthier than it is, which, again, the Washington Post editorial board called him out for. And forget just his health issues. This guy has really bad ideas that would be bad for Pennsylvania and the country, and they're trying to pull the same playbook they did with Joe Biden by essentially just keeping him in the basement and trying, to convince Pennsylvania voters what's the worst this guy could do. But this guy wants to release 1/3 of prisoners from prison. Like, he has a lot of terrible ideas, and if he gets elected, he's going to enact them, and they're basically just trying to trick PA voters into doing it.
Greg, great to see you tonight. Thank you for your work.